What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. I did not expect the insane reception to code What's Good 5 working over at trollandtoad.com. I know I have a large international audience, like it's only 60% based in the USA from the metrics YouTube gives me, but people from Israel, Australia, Central and South America chiming in saying, hey, I use Troll and Toad a lot. I even know other content creators actually go through Troll's prices as reveals because they don't get access to Card Market, and this is who a lot of people are using. So really glad to see that, and other people also saying, yeah, right after a buyout, this is my go-to website. So they're really glad to see a 5% discount that also supports the channel. Really awesome to see how many people coming in from international places in the comment section. That being said, let's get into today's Market Watch, starting with what's happening, the huge buzz of the day, the remote duel championship with Team Samurai X1 going X and O to take it all down with Dinosaurs against some of the world's top competitors, actually beating the reigning, defending, undisputed North American champion Cody Angeloff, still running thanks to us not having, you know, a nationals this year because of the situation with the crush card. But this event was awesome. It got a lot more eyes actually than the Duel Links one, almost double versus everything was in one day, so it'll be interesting to see how the top 4 actually gets viewed as well. But you can bet with that many eyes, something is happening to the market. Cyframe Gamma was the MVP of the entire tournament, though I don't know how many times it touched down. It would be actually interesting to see a counter of Gamma, 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 but it was freaking everywhere. Even with unlimited Toon Chaos, I would suggest getting your rares sooner than later. This is easily a $5 card in the future. The supers also could appreciate towards 10. The ultras, the easier to get higher rarity, but now a mid rarity, I find that less desirable, but people often do settle here around 1650. And then the collector rare is floating around 100. I think if we were in a format where there were events, the first eds would be 200 and the unlims would be 150. This is not the worst investment at all. Of course, using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. But Gamma is very format dependent. We're also seeing people use emergency teleport to bring this out because it can be summoned that way, but more so just to make the extra ones in the deck not dead, and also make sure the bricks get out of there so that you can use it as a tuner body for Halki Vibrex. When it comes to the first editions though, they are up there, 140 being the lowest, and I do think you'll see some of them going off the market very soon, so this is something I'd get sooner than later. But again, we're in a period where the format can shift before we even get to online play, and this could go back in out of the format before it even comes back into the format. Animadorn Archosaur coming in at number 4, actually the 4th tab here on Market Watch, and ironically, it's going up in price a little bit versus the market price right now, but we're just at the clearance of the remote duel, and it's one of the first events. Even though it was 16 players, it was 16 very notable players with 5 content creators and a lot of pros in there, and you see this, it's actually up towards 35 somewhat quickly when it's been resting, snoozing almost near that $30 mark for a while. So a lot more interest in the dinosaur decks. May I remind you, out of order tabs, I also would suggest getting the highest rarity driver for your decks, even though there's a reprint in Toon Chaos. The ultras, not the most quantities on the market. When it comes to the Dino Mashers Fury Structure deck, it's shipped $10 to your front door still right now, even with that little bit of a clunkier box, and then many people still at $11. It got an unlimited wave. This is actually, outside of a couple cards, a relatively friendly deck to be able to get and build on your own and put budget options in and take a lot of duels down. I see this commonly represented on Dueling Book. A lot of eyes are towards it, so I wouldn't straggle towards getting these, especially at $10. This is something that will eventually disappear, I think, from the market once again. Now, Fossil Dig, the OTS pack version, has actually come down a lot. Last I knew it was 10. I blinked and it's down here under $7, yet over on eBay it's still towards $10. So TCG player, definitely the better place to look. As I commonly used to say and still do, always check both when it comes to eBay and TCG player. I was like, am I crazy? I thought this was at 10, and eBay tells me the story that it's just getting more competitive over on TCG player. So you can come check that out as well. I don't think that's the worst stonk, but at the same time, like, it's not the biggest raise to go from $7 to $10. It's Still, though, a $20 playset versus a $30 playset if you're really wanting to hollow out your dinosaurs during this time. Again, though, banlist speculation, if they're to take the remote duel anywhere seriously towards the ban list and say, yeah, Dinosaurs still got it. Wow, they won the last YCS with Dominic Couch, Scott Page, and Silverman. Well, Dinosaurs could see some small hits, but you saw Sam doing it relatively well without having to go ahead into Calamities over and over, committing to different monsters. Dolka is relatively low on listings. I would probably go for the secret rare over the 10 secret rare just to have an original, but I believe the first ed has a significantly bigger gap if you're hunting it down, yes, towards $23 if you have one. Also, Lagia does not have the most copies on market. The 10s have been going on for a bit, and now he's towards $4 when you could have got him much cheaper before, as I suggested. And the Duelist Saga Ultra Rare, one of those unique rarities in the game, towards $6 before the Ultimates are up there towards $20. Remember Dino Rabbit format? I remember Dino Rabbit format. Maybe some of you guys have those decks together and have a lot of extra value now. I wanted to quickly touch on Rise of the Duelist and something that Cody, I believe, was doing a lot in the tournament, and that's triple tactics talent and making it look very good. Able to do it so reactively in places and often get that pot of greed effect, although against Sam, that Miscellaneousaurus was helping a lot to prevent, you know, the change of heart-like ability of it. And we also see the Dogmatic going up a little bit from, I believe, just yesterday with a couple prices, Baby bumping up. Not anything too surprising, but this card looked really good on that stage, and the Starlight rare has been going down as the other Starlights get a lot of attention. So this is something maybe to, if you're pulling it, hold on to, because while it's format dependent, I think in almost every format, it's still going to see some kind of play as long as hand traps are going around everywhere. I remember, like, no hand trap Goki. That would be kind of a scary thing to open this up against. So there will be formats where this kind of doesn't shine, but I think there will be a lot of formats where it does. And at this lower price for what the Starlight is, versus being one of the Chase secret rares in here, it is shocking how it is falling in price, and it's something to consider, especially since Rise of the Duelist was shorted on its first edition run versus what vendors were asking for. It got allocated away, they weren't able to get their orders they wanted. I think the Starlights from this will have some stonks, and triple tactics talent now looking very appetizing, especially versus its price for what it is when you see other things like Lightning Storm. Now, Lightning Storm, of course, is something that you can use in threes, a lot more decks consider using, but this is an interesting card, and with it falling in price, it's something to keep an eye on. Token Collector Ultra Rare is something we saw more than a couple of times having Token Collector played. I think this is a bit of a penny stonk at this point. I think this is another card that if we had IRL play would be shooting up right now, but it's not a bad penny stonk to keep at $1.60. I could easily see this highest rarity version being $5, as your other options are a rare and a common for now. Martial Metal Marcher is way down in price for a 2018 Mega Pack promo. A lot of the other promos got reprints. This did not, but a lot of people are scared of that Synchro engine being hit. As we continue towards the ban list or not a ban list, this is a card to keep your eye on if the Synchro engine does not get hit to go in on. Fortune Lady, every falling out in price. This feels oh so good. It's one of those I told you so's. It was so overinflated the moment it did not appear in the Megatons, and I'm like, dude, this is no Coral Dragon, and now already falling down towards the lowest point Coral Dragon had hit by not being in the Megatons before. So yeah, this is just falling out. I don't think it has that high of potential as a card. It's not even like the Mech Knight Link 2 when it missed the 10s. It's more so waifu tax, oh boy, she's got thighs and less of them, because surprisingly, shockingly, this is actually a censor versus the OCG. Fright for Kraken also falling out, feels good to man. Do remember though, this is from Fusion Enforcers. It can get taco curved if you're getting a European print, so do keep in mind Fusion Enforcers was one of those problem run sets in Europe, and you want TCG copies, so this is a card I'd probably try to buy in person instead of online, or at least try to get a picture of before you're getting it in hand. Speaking of Fluffles, the deck I've been rocking a lot on live stream, there's a lot of interesting prices. Almost every version of Dog is around $1 and very low in quantity. It seems like there's just not a lot of people selling these cards, so while you're picking bulk, something you might be passing by, which you really shouldn't, Fluffle cards have been good in general, are stuff like Wings, Dog, even the Fluffle Mouse that doesn't see a lot of play. Like, all of these are doing way better than bulk prices, and every version of Fluffle Bear looks to be $2 plus. This is pretty crazy value, and that's why I think Penguin's going to shoot up real bad. Look at all the versions of these other cards, and you use Penguin, it helps you make Bahamut into Toad, a buffed up Dweller, so many different things in the deck. Also, Dweller buffing Kraken's a funny interaction. I've had so much fun with this deck. Sorry, I'm rambling. Point being, this is an amazing price for a card with very few listings, and yet, even with multiple listings of many of these cards, they're going up in price and just have low listings, with the star foils being the standouts with stuff like Bear as well as Sheep. Next up, we have some Morgue. I wanted to talk a couple of penny stonks that I'm surprised are still so low price versus what they are. So Morgue is an amazing card that keeps popping up in other decks, and he summons the Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, which is the older piece granted, which is up towards $5. So you can see there's been so much demand for this card that it's gone up from $2 to $3 to $4, now $5 for this card. That's pretty crazy when it comes to this, but this is the Enabler. This is a card that's seen its placement in deck after deck after deck. Granted, it's not as generically insane as it once was, but Dinosaurs can have access to a variant that plays this, as well as other decks. Now, when it comes to the Infinite Loop, this has also gone down in price for negation. People saw that it's, you have to work harder with Carrier. It only goes in certain decks. It's not going to be everywhere. Good job, Konami, on that one. But it's still something that I would think about investing on at the lower price points that could come into the metagame at some point, depending on the right deck. That typing, Wing Beast, that sounds familiar. Oh, Tri-Brigade? Oh, wait, that works very well. An engine that's coming out to help it? Just some food for thought heading towards the future, especially with the fact that you're going to get more help that way. That being said, thank you for watching today's Market Watch. Congrats to Team Samurai X1 for taking it down and proving the haters wrong. He has really good technical play overall and hung in there with the best in the world to take first. I'd commented on the official Konami Facebook post announcing the remote duel thing to not sleep on players like Sam, who have 3 premier tops, and even the commentators were like, I don't think he's been in a high pressure situation before. I'm screaming at my screen, dude, he has 3 premier tops, come on, man. But seriously, congrats to Sam. Really interesting to see how this will impact the market by tomorrow morning, but there's the early fallout. As you see, a lot of eyes on this one. Thank you for watching, everybody.